and I get to witness it every day. And I never know on a daily basis what cool things I'm going to see, and it's inspiring. So anyway, those are just a few, but I see things daily.
Do you see things, with those quarterbacks you mentioned? Well, I guess Urlacher's the exception there, but is there similarities with Bryson Barnes and perhaps Taysom Hill or Bryce Perkins?
Yeah. The confidence, the belief, the work ethic, and the ability, but really just the expectations they have. I think they all think they can do anything because they've qualified to do it by how hard they've prepared. And all of those guys, if you put them all together, I don't know who wins, but man, is it one heck of a competition. And there'll be camaraderie, but the work ethic promotes this confidence and leadership that comes out. And agricultural backgrounds, going back to Bryson, man, does that predict a level of grit and fortitude. And I've tracked this over time. We've used that as a predictor in our career, in my career, for the players that have stayed in our program. And that family, the Barnes family, I went to an event at Utah Valley, so it's the Hall of Fame dinner, right, for each state. And so we have Blake Barnes on our team also, Bryson's younger brother. But their younger brother, who just left on a mission, was being honored that night as well. And these are great players, great students, and they're all in the same family. And so if you think about upbringing, there's a lot to be said for families that ask their kids to do hard things, and they have responsibility, and the capabilities they build is kind of what I was jokingly referring to. Let me find another pig farmer, but really the agricultural world, which
I think you're onto something. I remember that game at the Coliseum where Whittingham started Barnes. He called quarterback power, I think, 30 times.
Why not?
Yeah. Is that something that you've already,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, yeah. I mean, who's going to stop him?
Yeah.
He's impressive.
Yeah, fantastic.
Coach, with the House settlement finalized now, is there going to be some calmness now to college football, or just a different kind of chaos?
So here's the thing. I think settlement is a really interesting word because it doesn't feel like anything's settled. To me, it feels like the collectives now are arguing that payment should still be able to come from them. So that's not settled. The governance structure doesn't seem settled. Playoffs, not settled. Realignments, not settled. So I'm not sure what we've settled, other than we've just hit maybe the next marker. And it'll be interesting to see, as I've already seen kind of challenges to what the cap looks like, and that doesn't seem settled. So it just seems like, I'm not sure settlement, we're calling it the settlement, but I think it's just the next whatever. It's the next step.
So how do you plan or vision when all that stuff coming up in the East?
It's really a good question. So I think you have to analyze where you are, meaning each institution, what the goals are of that institution, what resources do you have, what are like-minded partners that you might have, and then you anchor in on that, and that becomes your identity, and then you adjust as best as possible as the rules change. The anchoring and identity, to me, and direction is first, and the rest, you just adjust as you go.
In some ways, is it good kind of where you guys are now compared to the ones that are going to be trying to cap out?
I prefer it. It aligns more with my values, and I feel fortunate. I do.
Do you expect the teams to stay within that cap, or because I feel like the Big 12 Media Days, a lot of the coaches were expecting that, and we have 150 years of history saying that doesn't really happen.
When have we ever stayed within governance and rules?
Yeah, right.
In college athletics, we seem to have been, I don't know, there's already ways there are already folks looking at ways to soften the cap.
Yeah.
It's the competitive world. So I think anyone that's not saying that, it would be great if it was the cap, if it was enforceable, and it was the same.
It's just not realistic, right?
Not under the current structure.
Yeah.
The NFL has a great idea, and they've been able to pull it off.
Yeah.
And so again, we're somewhere in the middle, mostly because we're having a hard time with defining whether we're professional or amateur.
Yeah.
And again, I mentioned this earlier, most of my colleagues, as I talk to them, when families come to visit, academics is not mentioned as a topic from families or student athletes. And therein lends to where we currently are. And so, again, as we're in between professional sport and amateur sport, and you could argue for either, therein lies the governance challenges. And the cap will be relatively soft, I think, until that becomes clearer.
When this finally comes out on the other end, where do you think all the college football is going to be?
I'm not sure, but what I know will happen at Utah State and with most of the coaches here is the development of young people is why we're doing it, and we adjust as best we can to the platform as it changes. But it's the only sustaining way for me to make sense of it all.
Do you think ultimately we're going to get to a spot where like the top 40 teams in the nation are break off, and you guys are doing more of what the mission was to begin with?
I could absolutely see a break off just because the monetary amounts are so different, and it is the reason for realignment. It is the reason why schools are moving from one coast to the other to play games. And so I absolutely could see it where like will be with like based on spending or finance, and like will be with like based on spending and finance and purpose and vision. And I'm not sure that's bad, but I certainly could see that happening.
I worked for a guy once who said, in America, we take things that are good and make it great, and then we ruin it. Do you think that's where we're headed, or does something finally fix it?
I think it's really based on how you define it. I think some would argue that the game is more entertaining and more intriguing with all these side stories than it's ever been. And that would be for those that love entertainment, right? And so it really is through what lenses you see it through.
For you, Coach, I mean, you're coming up your 19th coaching